Welcome back to the ESR. It's time for our final segment as we're going to take a look at how our two teams that we profiled today match up in a player versus player basis. This is our AMD by the numbers segment, brought to you, of course, by AMD. And Revan, let's kick it off with our first set of objective players. We have Nadeshot from Optic Gaming matching up against TP from Evil Geniuses. Break it down for me. How do these two meet up when it comes to the numbers?
All right, so overall KD ratio, TP has the upper hand there, 1.2 compared to a 1.0. However, when it comes to blitz and dom caps, Nadeshot averages more than TP does with a 3.77 for blitz caps, a 4.02 for dom caps. TP averages almost one more kill per game than Nadeshot does, but when it comes to search and destroy, Nadeshot has TP beat.
And you can see these numbers, of course, are coming from our Call of Duty League Season 2, thanks to our friends over at CODesports.tv. So let's go into our next set of players. We have Scump and Aches. Now, we just saw objective players. Now, talk to me about these two guys. Would you say they're slayers? Are they support slayers? What's their role?
Yeah, definitely more of a support slaying role for these guys. And how they compare is Scumpy, he's got the upper hand in the overall KD, but when it comes to blitz captures, Aches pulling away with that with almost 1.2 more than Scumpy. Dom caps Scumpy on top, as well as average kills per respawn in the Slayer column. Scumpy averaging 26, Aches averaging 23, but search and destroy KD ratio by 0.03, Aches has Scumpy beat.
Very close matchup between these two players in all categories. A bit surprising for some people out there to see Scumpy on top. Now next, we have Proofy versus Crimsix. These are some guys that really can showcase their assault rifle skills on Octane, as well as very versatile play with their MTAR.
Yeah, of course, overall KD, they're actually even, 1.04 to both, but blitz caps, Crimsix just getting a few more than Proofy does. Dom caps, Proofy adding in more for Optic Gaming, 4.67 compared to the 4.12 for Crimsix. Average kills per respawn, that is Crimsix all the way, 27 compared to 23.56. And for search and destroy, Crimsix on top once again, 1.27 over 0.96 for Proofy.
All right, so for the guys that like to post up as well as play aggressive when needed, Crimsix has the advantage there. Would you say Proofy is the lead pure slayer on the squad, or would you like to see a Scumpy comparison there?
Maybe a Scumpy comparison, but Proofy was brought on board for the Optic Gaming squad for the sole purpose of getting more kills for the team.
All right, finally, let's take a look at our last matchup. This is a matchup of the goalies, really the pure ARs when needed. Clayster and Karma also both take on the goalie role when it comes to blitz.
And that first category, pretty surprising to me. You know, Clayster having the upper hand there, 1.1 compared to a 0.94. I definitely think that the gap between these two for overall KD would be a bit closer, but blitz caps, Karma hasn't beat by a long shot, 3.31 compared to a 0.96. Clayster not capping many goals, but for dom caps, Clayster, he's going to be capping more of the home flag, so 4.17 compared to 3.72, and he's got Karma beat. More kills per game, that is Karma, but not by much. You know, that's a 0.93 disparity between them, and for search and destroy by 0.04, that is Clayster beating Karma.
All right, so when we look at all the matchups, TP beat Nadeshot overall. We saw Scumpy beat Aches overall. Crim is going to beat Proofy. And then that final one, would you say Clayster's got the edge over Karma?
Maybe by a little bit.
Maybe by a little bit, but that is all online. Those stats all coming from the MLG COD League Season 2. This weekend, it's anyone's game, and I know all of the fans watching the show today are hoping for an Optic Gaming versus Evil Geniuses rematch for a gold medal. The first ever eSports gold medal will be given away this Sunday. Guys, once again, X Games is kicking off June 6th through the 8th. We're kicking it off at 12 p.m. Central right here on MLG.tv. You can catch all the action there. Finally, to close out the show, we got to catch everyone up on what went down in the MLG COD League. 2 more teams have secured their spots in Anaheim. Let's break it down. Last night, we saw our final teams. It was Envy versus Optic. Going up against 2 more squads, we had Justice and Strictly Business. So Optic and Envy, number 2 and 3. Strictly Business and Justice, number 11 and 12. Guess what happened?
I don't know. I'm going to guess that Optic and Envy took home the victories.
Yeah, we had Optic take in 2. They did lose 1, and that was to Envy, as Envy actually 3-0'd them in the final match of the night. Justice gets their sole win over Strictly Business, and Strictly Business continues to struggle at the very bottom, sitting with an 0-3 finish on the day. So what does that mean overall? It means we're going to see Evil Geniuses still leading the board at 29-7. Optic Gaming is now in second place with a better map count. You can see the tie here overall, 25-11 each. Better map count for Optic Gaming gives them that number 2 spot. At the bottom, Strictly Business is not out, but I believe it's one more loss, and they are totally out of the tournament. If they are unable to get a perfect record, we will see them knocked out, mathematically eliminated from the top 8. They will have to play through the major open bracket, the Season 3 play-in tournament at Anaheim. Justice, Curse Orange, Team Caliber, all still in the hunt of that 8th place finish. You got to be in the top 8. All of those matches super important coming down the line. And I have some notes here from our commissioner, John Nelson. So he came up with this term, the magic number. It's something that's talked about quite a bit in sports. You might see it on ESPN. The magic number, Revan, means that you need to have a combined number of wins or your opponent losing X amount of times. So FaZe Black, all they got to do is win 5 more games or see Vex lose for a grand total of 5. So their wins plus Vex's losses combining for 5. Same thing goes for Curse Black and Denial Esports. All 3 of these teams, 5 more wins or Vex losses, they're in. FaZe Red is 7 games away, so they got a bit of distance. Team Caliber, they are sitting with the same record though as Vex. The only difference is map count. So it's coming down to the wire for these teams. Who comes out on top in your opinion? Vex or TK in that final 8?
No, I'm kind of pulling for TK because I am a substitute for that team, and I'm hoping that they could pull out some 3-0s to not only pull ahead in the standings, but also map count.
And FaZe Red is not safe by any means. They are 2 maps ahead of both of these squads, but they have dropped from a top 5 position down to number 7. Pretty interesting stuff here as it's getting dangerous for Justice and Strictly Business. Curse Orange and Justice still in the hunt, but really right now it's between FaZe Red, Vex, and TK. Only 2 of those 3 teams will move on. That sets up our Anaheim bracket. Do you have it, Ron? Let's take a look. This weekend we saw a great tournament going down in Australia. That was the ACL Brisbane tournament. Immunity, able to win it. You can see now the updated if the NA standings stay the same. And the teams that are locked in, you can see them at top. We have Evil Geniuses with that number 1 seed. TCM Gaming, the number 2 seed coming out of Europe, with Epsilon, the number 1 seed. But Immunity gets that number 5 seed overall, number 5 seed overall, thanks to what Curse Australia did at the COD Championships. Immunity was able to defeat Curse to earn that spot. And you can see between Envy and Optic, regardless of where they place, whether it's 2 or 3, are fortunate to be on the opposite side of the bracket from EG.
Yeah, everybody's looking to dodge them. However, I might be a little worried for EG, because TCM could definitely pull the victory out over the number 6 North American team. And then we were just talking about what are the weaknesses of Evil Geniuses. Well, playing against an opponent you don't have a chance to practice against. TCM definitely fits in that category.
Ooh, very good points. And of course, the MLG NA number 4, currently that is FaZe Black, could cause some issues for Immunity. Australia, known for their S&D game, though, could also cause an upset over FaZe Black if that's how it plays out.
Yeah, and then if it winds up that EG wins their first round matchup and Immunity win their matchup, then once again, you have EG going up against a foreigner team. We'll see how they match up, but just speaking a bit more about the weaknesses, they haven't had a chance to practice, they're unfamiliar with their playstyle, and if they're looking to prepare, well, they could look at the Brisbane VODs, which are going to be on YouTube.
Yep.
They could use that to study their gameplay.
Well, guys, unfortunately, we're out of time to show the gameplay from that ACL Brisbane tournament, but don't worry, I am going to be working on a bunch of games from that. We're going to be showcasing it on the ESR when we return from the X Games, as well as a bracket show for the X Games. Revan, Benson, and I will be talking with PJ from COD eSports.tv about our thoughts on the weekend. Who's coming home with the gold medal? You can find out all of our predictions live this Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for watching the ESR. See you Thursday. No show tomorrow. Thursday, 4 p.m. right here on MLG.tv.